Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Let's talk about Destination X, Episode 6.
Okay.
I'm back.
Let's do it. David's back. We had James last week.
Yes.
But David is back. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdtainment.
Yes, we were just saying last week's episode that you were not here to cover.
Yes.
Had the whole clue package thing
Yeah.
that I love at the end.
I literally thought of you when I watched it. I was like, oh, Sarah's eating this up.
Eating it. But
Yep.
guess what? They didn't. Not consistent.
Where did they end up? Munich?
Yep.
Yeah. And people were guessing Strasbourg, right? Something like that.
Was it It was.
I think.
It was Frankfurt and like
Frankfurt,
Strutberg,
something like that.
Yeah.
But they ended up in Munich, the beer or whatever. And it kind of ended on this cliffhanger of like awkwardness with Peter. Because Peter, love him or hate him, I think he's making the game interesting.
Oh.
And he said something that pissed Shane off about like, oh, are you trying to get Allie to lie to me or something. And they kind of left it, they picked that up at the beginning of this episode with like Peter trying to shake Shane's hand and Shane being like, no.
Shane started it. Shane, when Kim was outed, which by the way, I didn't get to talk to Kim.
Oh, that's a bummer.
She was sick.
Oh.
Couldn't make it work. I had lots of questions for her.
That's too bad.
But when Kim left, Shane goes, time for payback.
Yeah.
And Peter goes, I'm sorry, who to what now?
Yeah.
And so, yes, we're going to pick up with a Shane versus Peter. The vibes are not chill on this bus.
No.
And then Biggie and Mac are like,
I mean, I think they, like, literally, I think we would act like that, too, where we're sort of like, oh, keep me out of it, but, like, also I'm eating the popcorn and I'm enjoying the show. Because, like, as long as I'm not in the crossfire, and that's kind of, like, Biggie says a version of that, too. Like, everybody else on the bus is kind of like, well, let them go at it and, like, take each other out. Shane is like, how many times are you going to shake my hand, bro? And Peter's like, what? Like, I just want to make sure we're good, which who knows how genuine that is in a game like this. But it's, you know, kind of an awkward moment, and those two are clearly gunning for each other.
And then did you catch that Biggie said, because, like, it was him and Mac, and Biggie was like, love Mac. Mac's great.
Yeah.
Like, if we weren't on this bus, I'd probably be asking her for a date.
I was confounded by that.
I was like, Biggie, I'm not sure you're reading this
I
situation.
don't know if you're barking up the right tree, buddy.
Nope, that tree is not interested in you. I'm
and then,
not 100% sure.
I'm not 100% sure
that's
either.
That's my takeaway.
But
yeah.
I also was sort of mystified by how Rick has found himself in the middle here.
Rick is sitting pretty.
He really is. He went from no allies, no friends, nobody wanted to talk to him, everybody hated Rick. And now here he is, he's got Peter and Janae on one side, and he's kind of bonding with Mac and Biggie on the other side because they're all staying out of the crossfire of this Shane-Peter thing. I think he's maybe, like, blowing that moment a little bit out of proportion. Like, I don't know how much they're really on your side, but he's feeling comfortable for the first time in a while.
I think that they were getting along. But I think his true allies are Peter
and Janae, for sure.
Yeah. But he's in a good spot.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a castle.
A castle. I don't know how I knew this, but I wrote down they're in Salzburg.
Whoa.
Right here, right now.
How did you know that?
I think it was the beautiful green. I mean, I've been to Salzburg. I remember there being something he said where I was like, oh, that, or maybe it was like, I think in the B-roll of where they were, they showed a picture of Mozart, and I know that Mozart, I went to the, like, house where he was born in Salzburg.
And that's in Salzburg?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, but it said, as they were, like, sort of on the bus and showing these B-roll things, it said, like, 100 miles from Destination X, and so I thought, oh, they're in Salzburg now, but they're going to Vienna.
Oh.
I'm still kind of learning how to play this game along. Like, play along as a viewer. I'm not sure. I'm like...
Well, the way I play is they give us the B-roll, and we're pretty... I think we can tell the country pretty quickly, right? Like,
and we know they were just in Germany, so they're probably like...
Yeah. So it was clearly Austria. Like, pretty quickly you're like... Sound of Music vibes.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go to Vienna first. Like, I'm gonna go to the biggest city I think of first.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I was comparing it to like Orvieto and Rome.
Yeah.
In the Italy episode.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, they're gonna do some challenge in Salzburg, but ultimately they're gonna end up in Vienna.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was actually impressed that they went to Salzburg and it wasn't Vienna. Yeah. Only because it was, like, not the biggest, obvious city. But, okay, first we're at this castle.
Goggles on.
Who loves a castle? This girl.
You guys.
Love a castle.
Yes.
I don't care when it was built.
Yep.
But I would have had a good guess.
Yeah. It would not have been the 1800s.
You. I know a little bit more about castles than that. They gotta find a key first. They're just kind of thrown around the courtyard of this castle here.
It's like
this
a scavenger
is just getting
hunt.
us started.
There's some like banners that apparently are giving them some clues. They kind of show the banners too quickly for me to really interpret what the clues mean. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's just like clues to where the keys are. One person doesn't find a key, it ends up being Mac, and she is headed to the dungeon of this castle.
Yeah, and they're like, you're gonna sleep in a dungeon, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
Just last week, James was like, I wish they could get off the bus.
And stay somewhere off the bus.
Let them have some social time off of the bus, whether they stay there or not. But like last week, they had the Oktoberfest. He was like, let them go to Oktoberfest.
Totally.
Let's see them socializing or fighting, whatever. And so I was like, ooh, James might love this. But we know that Mac is off and going to sleep in a dungeon.
Yep.
3 of them are going to go to a chapel.
Yep.
And 3 of them are going to go to a library. Depending on their keys.
When they get there, each of those rooms has a clue, like a riddle, and then they have to solve it for 1 key. So one person from each of these rooms is going to move on to the final round. I kind of liked this like tiered challenge. It's kind of like Survivor-esque, where it's like all of you and then 3 of you and then 1 of you.
Yeah.
So 2 people are going to move on to the final round here. To me, the clues, I just didn't have enough time to sit with them and like really solve them. But Rick, something about like a flower that blooms in the day, and he's like, of course, Edelweiss. And I'm like, how do you know so much about Edelweiss?
How did he know about Edelweiss the flower?
Yeah.
And not connect that to Sound of Music?
Literally.
He
said
Edelweiss.
And then he goes, I think we're in Northeast Switzerland. I was like, sir, there's a whole song about Edelweiss in Sound of Music. Sound of Music is the only pop culture reference for Edelweiss.
For Edelweiss. There's no other point to ever bring up this flower other than Sound of Music. So, yeah, he says Edelweiss, and I'm like, cool. I already knew we were there, but cool. And then Allie is going to win in the chapel with, is this the salt clue? No, that's later. Okay,
they had the music on the pews.
Oh, Mozart.
And it was some sort of canine thing where they were like, Wolf, I didn't hate Janae's interpretation where she's like, Beethoven the dog. Yep. I'm like, honestly, yeah, but I know that they're in Salzburg right now, so I know the answer is Mozart.
Yeah.
So Allie's very quick to find the sheet music, and so it's Allie and Rick who are moving on to the final round, and everyone else is off to the dungeon.
Yes.
When they get to the dungeon, they're spilling everything to Mac, and she's like, I don't know why you're doing this, but thank you.
No joke. Peter walks in and he's like, do you know anything about an Edelweiss? And of course she's like,
yeah, I've seen the Sound of Music.
No, she's like, no, what's that? Huh. Thank you for telling. I was like, I cannot believe you said that, Peter. You're supposed to be such a good gamer.
But she does know.
Yeah, of course.
She tells us in confessional. So she's actually a good gamer.
If David, if someone came up to David and was like, do you know anything about the thing about the Edelweiss? And you would be like, no.
Never heard of it.
And then you'd be like, Sound of Music.
Literally.
Okay, and then, who's the other group
Biggie
walks in.
marches in and he's like, Mozart.
I was like, I don't know something about Mozart.
Literally, like, if you go to Salzburg, those are the 2 things they have. It's Mozart and Sound of Music. They have tours for both of them. It's their whole claim to fame. 2 great claims to fame.
Pretty good.
But, like, so Mac is like, I know exactly where we are now.
Mac, the loser who saw none of us, now has all of the information. So good for Mac. Now we have...
Now it's the floral base, too. Rick and Allie. And they're looking... We got to talk about this.
Okay.
This clue about something to hold your flora or something.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a vase.
Yeah.
But this whole, a reflection of the past and yada yada. And them sitting in that confessional booth on the bus and being like, I held a vase up and I read salt in the mirror. I'm like, they had to pick all of these shots up after the fact. I imagine... They might have needed a little help.
Okay, you
to
think
put
it
all
was
that
after
together.
the fact? I was wondering. I was like, how long did the producers let them circle that room before the producer said, "Someone pick up that vase,"
literally,
and walk towards the mirror
and hold it in a mirror? I never would have put that together.
No, that's
to
tough.
hold something in a mirror and then read a word that is going to lead me to a red salt shaker.
Nobody's thinking about that.
No. What I think might have happened
Uh-huh.
is that they looked around the room and they said, "Is this it?
Yeah.
Is this it?"
Uh-huh.
And they just placed things on top of the box,
box
at random. And then they were like,
Someone
"Okay,
eventually got
Allie,
the
you
vase.
got the red
Oh, the salt.
salt shaker. But if you could go ahead and just hold this vase in the mirror, we need to just piece this together for the viewers of what we were trying to direct you to do." I have no belief in my body that they got to that red salt shaker on their own.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I don't know how it happened. I hope that we find out.
Yes.
But
ask somebody about that,
I
please.
will.
One of them.
I will ask, one of them when they finally get out. They're going to be in this game for a long time, so not anytime soon.
Yeah.
But Allie is the one who's going to be able to take it ultimately.
And ultimately, Salzburg. Like, that's what we're talking about here. That's what the clue is about.
I didn't get that. I don't know anything about Salzburg, and I certainly didn't know that it was related to salt. But as soon as Matt hears the word Salzburg.
Oh, yeah. She's like,
or
Salt City.
Sorry. Because, once again, right, Rick's going to go back to the room and be like, it was a vase that said salt.
And she's like,
y'all are handing it to me.
yeah.
And no one else
She
is
the
getting
most
it.
confident person in the whole
Of
group.
course.
And she missed every single clue, but was fed all the information by her competitors.
So Rick, Shane, Janae, and Peter are all in the dungeon, and we're going to see Allie up in a lovely room.
Yeah.
Up in a tower or whatever. And of course, I was like, she's not staying there by herself tonight.
No, she has to bring her love interest.
But did she have to bring her love interest?
She didn't have to, but I'm not surprised she did.
Yeah.
Pick one person to come up here and spend the night with you, because I guess they can't look out the tower. It's too dark. And so they're going to get a view in the morning when the sun is up. So, I mean, if I were her, I wouldn't want to invite Rick up and spend the night with Rick.
No, but here's the thing. I thought she was aligned with Allie. What did you guys think?
Allie is up there.
I'm sorry.
Mac?
Mac.
Yeah, but I think she's gotten closer with Shane now.
Well, of course she's gotten closer to Shane. But if we just remember a couple episodes ago, Shane chose Biggie over Allie.
True.
At the Smasher vase thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my God, she's of course going to bring Shane up. She's, got goo eyes for Shane. But it would be smarter to bring, like, a closer game ally, not your boy toy. And in my head, that was Mac. But after talking to Mac today, I found out they're not aligned at all.
Really?
Yeah. That first episode, when it looked like they had made a little pact.
That didn't last.
That did not last at all. They did not get along. They were not aligned at all.
Wow.
So I was mistaken, and I was like, was it just me?
Huh.
But no. So
Okay.
so I guess Allie had no one else that she could even think about. She was like, just Shane is my closest now.
Well, and the producers are like, yeah, we want to get this footage of you kissing goodnight and your shoes off next to the bed. Yeah. They get their view in the morning. I don't know what it really tells them, except that they see twirling Maria from The Sound of Music. And
what you said, that's all over Salzburg, so.
It is, but I think you would associate Sound of Music with Austria, not necessarily directly Salzburg, and that's kind of what happens with Allie. She's like, well, the city that I know in Austria is Vienna.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to Vienna.
The first big clue like this, though, is always just the country.
Fair.
This is usually when we see a flag.
Yeah.
So if you just give me Sound of Music, you're like, check, confirmed, Austria.
I did laugh out loud when I saw that twirling Maria.
I was like,
this is hilarious.
I was like, way to go. Good gig. Cute little actress.
Now, the dungeon, they did everything they could to make us believe that castle was haunted, and they showed us Janae wanting to get an Uber at 2:30 in the morning.
That was the best. She was like, call me an Uber.
Yeah.
That
She's
was
so
really
real
cute.
for that.
Yeah.
But then, really, it's Rick overnight putting all the pieces together, and he's like, of course, Salzburg, Austria, Sound of Music, Edelweiss, Salt.
He needed to sleep on it.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, once we get back on the bus, with everyone having a horrible night's sleep, Rick is going to share all of that information with Peter, of course.
Yeah.
But Mac's going to share all of this with Biggie.
She wants to get close to Biggie, not because she wants to go on a date with Biggie in real life, but she's just gaming and strategizing. I think it's like, feels a little late in the game.
That's what it feels like.
Because to me, it feels like she's building a relationship with Biggie for the first time. I'm sure they've had conversations before this, but I'm like, episode 6 and now you're sharing information? Like, this man is already closer to other people.
That's what we're getting because that's the edit.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta watch the interview with Mac.
Yeah. I'm sure there was so much we didn't see.
Mac's closest ally is Biggie.
Okay. And
so this conversation is like par for the course. Yeah. They do it all the time.
This is what they do. They share information.
But honestly, it all circles around Biggie. Like, this is me saying Biggie has a winner's edit because we know he's close with Shane. We knew all of these other alliances. Janae just last week was like, I don't want to pick Biggie. I don't want to get on his bad side. Yeah. When she put
and you've been saying for a while, he's like the best position socially.
It looks that way. And here we are, like, just learning that he's actually super aligned with Mac this whole time. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's really well positioned. So even if she thought they were aligned this whole time, doesn't mean it's true. Yeah. Like, from Biggie's perspective.
Yeah, it doesn't mean she's his number one.
But that's what it looks like to us, is like, oh, Mac, it's a little too late. He's got his alliances. Yeah. So, anyway, okay.
And honestly, that kind of, like, helps, I think, in terms of the story the producers are trying to tell in this episode, based on how things end up and what Biggie does with the information that Mac gives him. He kind of handles it like she's not his number one. Because he shares that information with Shane. Yeah. But before we get there, the bus stops, no goggles on, the window unlocks, they see outside, the door opens, they just get to rush outside into what looks like the Swiss Alps.
Yeah, that's got to be the best when they don't have to get those goggles on and they can just step off the bus.
Yeah. And of course, it's like they're in the middle of nowhere. So it's a great moment to do something like that. There's no real, like, significant clues. I mean, the Alps could be anywhere in Europe.
Oh, that part. But I'm like, yodel.
For sure. So, but JDM, when the players come out, I put my Sarah cap on, and I'm like, I'm looking for clues everywhere that I want JDM to explain later in the episode. He says, Heidi Ho players. So I'm like, Heidi. The movie Heidi.
Oh,
or the film, TV show Heidi, whatever it was. So I'm literally on Wikipedia, like, looking up Heidi. Swiss Alps. It was set in the Swiss Alps, Heidi. Oh. So I'm like, is that a red herring? Is that meant to make them think, like, maybe we're in Switzerland, which I already knew that Rick kind of thought that. So I wasn't sure how Heidi might have been.
It might be considered a red herring, but I think you could also be like, I think that's part of yodeling. Right. Heidi.
Yeah, yodeling. Right.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm making things up.
But there's this army of what looks like zombie yodelers wandering through the meadow.
I would like to hear your opinion. But no joke, I was like filled with so much joy. I wanted to tear up out of absolute, this is gorgeous. Please. He introduces us to one yodeler.
Constance.
And then he's like, what did he call them?
The Belting Berthas.
The Belting Berthas arise over the cliff. And I was like, I'm here for this. They're all singing or yodeling. Yeah. It's gorgeous and the way they come up over the... I was like, yes.
They're all over 45. And you know that's the age group of women that I love.
We do not want them young.
I do not.
I want
old women.
This is my TV.
If Kim were still there, Kim's like, I'm joining this choir. These are my people.
I was obsessed. I loved it so much.
It was very cute, but it really did look like, oh my God, is this like The Last of Us, where like an army of zombies is going to come and eat these people alive?
If they're yodeling, you can take me. That is fine. I'm ready to go.
So here's the challenge. Yeah. Constance is going to yodel a little yodel. And then all of her belting Berthas are going to yodel a different yodel, except for one of them. And you got to run around and find the right yodel.
This is such a good challenge.
It is so great.
I love it so much.
Cacophonous, right?
It is so hard for someone who is not going to get melodies or tone or anything.
You have to have some kind of musicality to hear it.
Yeah. But it's going to be such a fun challenge. If you would have nailed it.
I would have loved this.
Yes, I would have done decent.
Yeah.
But this would have been so fun to do.
I might have failed because I probably would have stopped with every woman. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?
Oh my God, you're so good. Loving this. Run over here. Oh my God, I don't think this is it, but I'm loving what you're doing. Okay, I'll be back. I gotta go check over here.
My name's David.
Yeah, I might have been a little too slow because I'd have been like, that's beautiful.
Right. So Allie is already safe from the map room. She's not participating. Rick ends up the MVP of this.
Of course.
He is sprinting, grabs the horseshoe. I guess Janae claims that she wanted to grab that same horseshoe or whatever.
But just for funsies, she was like, I liked the look of that one.
Yeah. Rick grabs it, sprints back. He's correct. He and Allie are now safe from the map room.
Yeah.
But Rick gets to pick someone else, right? To be safe.
Hey. Yeah.
And he picks Biggie. Biggie is winning this game.
Biggie, it's Biggie or Rick. It is one of those two for sure. Rick wisely is like, I don't really want to show my cards with Peter.
Of course.
And I think that's a smart thing. So he's like, who's my backup? Biggie, the person who is most beautifully socially positioned in this game.
Yeah.
So here we are with Allie, Rick, and Biggie safe from the map room. Everyone
4 people go into the map room. Yes. So we go back on the bus first before we're going to send everybody into the map room. Peter is now passing on information to Janae, and he's like, it's Salzburg. And Shane thinks it's Vienna because of what Allie said earlier in the tower. Biggie throws a wrench in the whole thing by sharing with Shane that it is Salzburg, but don't you dare tell Mac because she told me, and if she knows that I told you, she will never trust me again.
So Biggie makes it sound like I don't have confidence that Peter and Janae know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell Shane because they don't know, so they're going to go.
Yeah,
right?
And
so
Shane's
it
my boy.
Yeah, like I'll help Shane out, but I think those people don't know where they are.
I don't think he thinks he's setting Mac up to go home.
Right. No, not at all.
And clearly the way it ends, he was not intending to do that.
Because I think if you were aware that everyone going into the map room knows where they are, except for one person, I think you would have to let that one person go, even if you were aligned with them.
Or it would be making sure Shane gets it right and then trying to convince Peter or Janae that it's somewhere else.
That it's somewhere else. But they're not doing that. And poor Mac has no idea that this information has gone. And no one really seems to know who knows what. So we go into the map room, and they all know where they are.
Everybody picks Salzburg. And I wrote down, I was like, how is this going to go?
Right.
Everybody's choosing Salzburg.
And I wonder how they did it because did they wait till everyone went out of the map room and then brought them back in?
They had to have. And I wonder if that's like sort of a matter of procedure every episode where they send someone in and then hold them back until everybody has placed their X and then sends everybody from the map room back into the bus together, because they had to have waited until everybody placed their X and then called them back individually to say it's a tie.
Yeah, it's not going to be while you're there you put in Salzburg and then they were like, everyone has said the same thing.
No, because if Janae's the second person to place it, they're not going to tell her that in the moment.
So ultimately, however production did it, they're back in the map room and they're being told that everyone was correct.
Yeah.
So they get a tiebreaker question, which makes sense to me if everyone is correct.
Makes total sense. The question feels a bit random.
Well, it's related, but not.
It's related, but not. Like, it's not like a Big Brother thing where it's like, how many seconds was this challenge? It's more like, when was this castle founded? Well, you only know that if you've, like, done a bunch of research pre-game, which it seems like most of these people have done. But, like, come on.
All of us, right here. that castle, I didn't get to see all of it, but it had medieval vibes.
Oh, it's old as hell.
So I immediately, like, what century were you thinking? Like, obviously, I don't know the answer. I don't even know that castle.
I would have gone Peter, Shane, Mac route. Yeah. I would have said 14 to 1500s, just because that's generally what I think of with
castles. A lot
of
castles were built around the 1500s.
Yeah.
I
would not have gone as far back as it was.
I think we know 1800s was incorrect.
She literally goes...
She was like, just a couple hundred years ago?
1700s feels too far back. She literally says 1900s feels right.
That was just...
My jaw was on the floor.
That was 25 years ago was 1900. Like, we were alive in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Was she not? How
Castles were not... like that. It looks old, that castle.
Nobody's actually building castles in the 1900s.
There's no real estate for that anymore.
No one, was doing that. I would have, like, my first thought was 1500s, and then I was like, but medieval, it's probably going to be earlier. So maybe I would have thrown down, like, a 1300s. Maybe.
Well, you would have won.
At the earliest. I doubt I would have gone 1100s as well.
Yeah, it was interesting that Shane and Mac guessed so close.
Yeah.
One of them was like 1556, the other 1576.
Yeah, I'm not going to hate on a 1500 answer. I think that's fair.
Me too.
But yeah, this is a hard question, but I would hope you'd be like in the general area.
But when Janae guessed 1850, I was like, well, she's out of it.
Janae, bye-bye.
Goodbye. So we see them all make their guess. Now they all come back from the map room, and JDM comes on the bus, and he's like, so to the rest of y'all, it was a tie, and y'all are talking too much. You're sharing too much information.
Yeah. No fair.
He's like, I'm slapping your hand.
Yeah.
We should not have to be doing a tiebreaker question.
Nope.
So he's like, the thing is, the way this is going to work, I thought, actually, I don't know what I thought. Maybe I thought Janae's out.
Yes, I thought.
Because she's the furthest
away.
I did not expect closest gets to pick who goes home.
Here's what I love about this part of the game, though, because, you're like, whoa, Peter's told he was the closest, and he's going to get to choose.
Yeah. Which
I don't think any of us like Peter's choice, but it hopefully made all of them suffer, right? You don't want some random person with the power to choose who goes.
So this will stop you from sharing information.
Your lips. Yes. Think a couple times before you share your information.
Yep.
Because if they had just said Janae was furthest and she goes, it's not quite the consequence.
Yep.
They're like, okay, bye.
And I think Mac wouldn't have told Biggie that it was Salzburg and she was sure of it. If she knew this was going to happen, or that there was potential for this kind of thing to happen.
Exactly.
Now you understand the value of having information and being confident in that information. Because Mac had no question that they were in Salzburg.
Right. And she figured that out herself.
Yes. And she even says when she gets eliminated, I mean, Peter eliminates her out of respect. I literally wrote by Shane when Peter was given the power to eliminate someone. But I love he separated head and heart. And was like, I think Mac's a bigger threat to me in this game. And so he eliminated her. I totally respect the decision, even if I don't like it.
Right.
And when she went home, she was like, it really sucks that I knew where we were, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it does matter.
If you...
It matters that you told people.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the lesson. And obviously I was upset to lose Mac because she's so good at this game.
Yeah, she could have won.
But that was the right choice by Peter, and I have to give him props for not falling into the emotional trap.
Yeah.
And to actually make a smart game decision.
Yeah.
But, I hope all of them feel the consequence and shut their trap.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you? She and I had a great conversation. Again, please watch this video. I love talking. I was excited to talk to her, and I love talking to her. And I was like, hate to, I was like, I was thinking maybe if you didn't share your info with Biggie and wait, because he was safe from the map room.
Yeah.
So even if you are his best friend, if he's safe from the map room, you don't have to share information.
Share it afterward.
Right? Yeah. And be like, so I know we were in Salzburg after the map room is done. But she told him before they knew who was going into the map room or who was not. And I think that's the biggest mistake. Wait to find out. And then only give people information if you are truly trying to save them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So hard lesson.
Hard lesson. It was like touching to see her get emotional. She's like, I never get emotional. I never cry, but like, I'm gutted. This is like...
Yeah.
So upsetting for me. You could tell she came in so prepared. Like, she knew her stuff. She was so smart, so sharp. I thought, even though she was kind of not so alliance-y, I thought she was navigating the game socially decently.
Right.
And I thought she was, like, in my top 3 to win. Like, I think I would have said her, Rick, and Biggie are the 3, and maybe Allie. But, like, she was great. And I think
Are you ignoring Peter at this point?
Well, not anymore, to be honest. Because not only is he, like, making the game interesting by, like, calling people out on things in public, he just kind of knows, you know, he's a reality TV expert. He kind of knows how to create a moment.
Yeah.
But he's, I think, navigating the game really well.
He is. He's in a great place. And I think because he's aligned with Rick, who's one of the smartest players in the bus, he's going to be there for a while. And so then at the end,
and I think it's smart to align with Janae, who, like, kind of doesn't
Janae's
know
just
much.
kind of along for the ride. Doesn't seem, I mean, we don't know yet, but, like, doesn't seem to be putting a lot of things together. It doesn't seem to be contributing too much, but keeping her as a number will help push other people out. So I do think we are going to lose some of this OG group. Yeah. Which we do talk about the, like, vibes on the bus with the new people coming in and the social part of the game with Max. So again, please watch that video.
I really liked the sort of, like, Julie Chen post-eviction moment we got with JDM and Mac, where he's like, so you actually were the only person who figured it out.
Right.
And Biggie told Shane, and Rick told Peter and Janae, and she's like, are you kidding? I'm the only one
who knew.
And everybody else...
Well, Rick figured it out. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely.
She's like, it was just from loose lips of other people. But the other people going to the map room
No, that was loose lips from her.
Well, from her, for sure. But, like...
But it's loose lips.
But also loose lips from Biggie.
Yes.
She thought she could trust Biggie.
She thought she could trust Biggie. And knowing that they had an alliance already does help with that information. If you thought you were just jumping in with Biggie and that he wasn't going to share it with Shane.
Yeah.
No. But if you really, truly thought that y'all were aligned... but it does help a little that Biggie feels bad, like, in this moment.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't realize that me telling Shane was going to get Mac out. I would have not done it had I realized that.
And that's why it's such a smart move by the producers.
Yeah.
It keeps the players on their toes. It teaches them lessons. And they're like, oh, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Now I have to, like, readjust how I'm playing this game now.
I don't know. I think Biggie is in this to the end.
It is interesting. Allie and Janae are the only women left.
They are, but
Allie's
a very strong player, obviously.
Yeah. But I think that could get her out like Mac.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're, like, taking shots at big players now.
For sure.
So...
Well, this is such an interesting episode.
Yeah.
Like, some good gameplay, like a wild twist at the end, and, like, a disappointing person leaving. Yeah. So, interesting episode. Yeah, we didn't get the...
clue explanation.
Clue roundup at the end there. I would really like that every episode. Does it really take up that much time?
No.
No, it really doesn't.
Also, I don't know why they don't do a preview of the next episode. I want that. I guess that's more of a CBS thing. I don't know.
Yeah, they should show us something.
Yeah, come on.
All right. I don't know. We've got, like, what is it,
12
episodes?
Is it 12?
Or is it 10?
I think it's probably 10.
Yeah, I think it's 10.
First season, summer show.
Yeah. So what, 4 more episodes?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Because we're down to 6. So then we eliminate 3 in the next 3 episodes, and then we have, like, the final 3 in the finale.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know the other versions of the show, so I really don't know how the show goes.
Yeah, interesting how the format works. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're almost through it, and I have to say, Rick and Biggie's edit, I feel like they are at the end. Peter obviously is in a good position, so maybe he's there too. But Allie's so strong. Like, are they gonna take her out?
Yeah. I don't know.
We will find out. Thank you guys for being here live. We appreciate it.
Yes, and if you're joining us later, let us know how you feel about Matt going home and these loose lips on the part of the other players and Mac. And where do you think they're going next? After Austria, Are they going to Hungary?
I want them to go
Poland?
to Prague.
Oh, the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Or Switzerland?
Yeah,
because at the end of The Sound of Music, they cross
anything?
over the Austrian border into Switzerland because it's safe territory during World War II.
Sure, why not? Do it.
No, they won't go back to Switzerland because they already went to Geneva.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, are they going to go back to anything, or will they go back to Switzerland or Italy? Like,
interesting.
I don't know.
Maybe one big circle. I don't know.
Yeah. Can
We'll
they cut through on their way to like Spain or something? Or Portugal?
They should. I would love to see them go to Spain.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Let us know where you think they're headed next.
Yes, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.